Hello, everyone, and welcome to the very first episode of Karate Ramblings. I'm Kieran McKenzie.
And I'm Brian Bates.
We are two karateka who have decided to throw a little bit more enthusiasm and a little bit more fun into the online karate world. Well, as much as we can muster, at least. So, Brian, why don't you talk us through a little bit about yourself? Introduce yourself to the crowd.
Okie dokie. So it's really just a brief introduction. So I'm Brian Bates. At the grand old age of 50, I've been doing martial arts for a very long time. So I've got the grade of 5th dan in karate and 3rd dan in Aiki Jiu-Jitsu. So that'll do. That's all we need to know about that. So over to you, Kieran.
Okay, I am Kieran. I am a karateka Shodan. I'm 26 years old. I've got different experience in karate. I've got about 8 years in taekwondo. I've got some years in a few different grappling sports, and I'm all about going through and learning and mixing together and just having as much fun as humanly possible. So today on our first episode of the podcast, we've got a couple of little topics for you. So first one we want to talk about is a recent tournament that was held in Bournemouth. So this was a tournament held by Sensei Steve Goodhand of AKA Karate Jutsu. I also believe he also goes by AKA Combat Sports these days as well. It's got a few different names thrown in there.
So that's the Applied Karate Association, is it? AKA. So should we talk a little bit about the tournament, the type of because it's not your average sport karate tournament, is it? Or your WKF tournament, which most people would be familiar with. So we just
No,
sort of yeah.
absolutely. It is a fantastic bloody good step in the right direction, in my opinion. It might even be the step in the only direction that karate can actually go into these days, because I mean, I'm not a fan of the point sparring, get in, tag your opponent, scream as loud as you can and wave your fist, and yeah, I did it, sir, look at me, I got the point, I got the point. No. Also, being a short person, that doesn't really favor my short arms, so
It's
what
go on.
I
I
was
was
going
going
to
to say
say,
it's kind of
the
based on the karate combat type rule set, isn't it? So it's along similar
mm,
lines to that, isn't it? So
yeah. So what we've got in this tournament, the rough outline of the rules. This is how I'm describing it to everyone. You got a minute and a half rounds. Okay, usually 2 rounds per fight, and you've got a minute and a half. You can do any kind of semi-contact controlled stand-up striking. So if you want to do your closed fist punches, if you want to do your backhands, if you want to do your kicks to the head, to the body, you want to kick to the thigh, kick to the shins even. And then if you find yourself into the nice little clinch, you've got 10 seconds to grapple, in which you've either got to maintain dominance in the grapple, you've got to escape the grapple, which is a viable option, or you can throw the opponent to the ground. Now, as soon as they're on the ground, as soon as one person gets on the ground, you're allowed 5 seconds to either do obviously your controlled ground and pound, or you can do a judo style hold down like a pin, or you can do your scarf hold, your side control, your north and south, what have you.
so as going in as a coach to that rather than a competitor, I should have probably read the rule set a bit more. But I believe the throws, it was no big hip throws, was it? So nothing above the waist as such with the throws.
Well, generally speaking, the throws, I mean, you can do big hip throw, no problem, but you got to make sure they land in a safe way. You can't just
Hmm.
the things that I'd say you probably weren't allowed to do is like the big wrestling style suplexes. You're just yeeting
Yeah,
someone over the top of your shoulder.
that's
No, you've got to pick them up and you've got to put them down nicely, or at least nice enough, so that you've got control of the technique, you've got control of your opponent. The way I like to describe any technique is that you're doing the techniques, the punches or the grappling, in a way that you are showing to the referee and the judges that you can be trusted to do them. That's the best way I can probably describe it. That's the level of control you need to show.
yeah, yeah. So talking of control, should we talk about your fights or some of the fights in general? Yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
because
we'll talk a
we've
little
got the
bit about the
basic rule set, haven't we?
yeah, we'll talk about the juniors. So Obviously with juniors, the unfortunate thing is on the odd occasion you can get ones where you got a small junior going up against a tall one. But even when I did see those matchups, I did see some very good spirit from the smaller fighters. I mean, I saw some ones where the smaller fighters would win. So there was one young lad. He had a couple of injuries, and so Steve was telling me before he had a couple of injuries. His goal every time was okay. If he took a couple of hits going in, that was fine. But his main goal was to get in, grab that clinch, and put the other person on his back and hold them down. Perfectly legitimate technique, perfectly legitimate game plan, and it worked. You saw some on our mat, and then on the mat on the other side, you saw some of the younger kids. They were going for it, just hammering out the punches. Obviously, they're not knocking each other's heads off. No head contact for the little ones. But yeah, no, it was great to see. It
Well, I was
was a say. Yep.
Yeah, I was going to say we had three juniors, didn't we, from our club competing. So
Mm, yeah.
it was, I think, like you're saying about the different heights or the different sizes. I think if it was a small category, it was done on age for the juniors, but one of the categories was the boys. I think that was like 10 to 12 year olds or something like that, or 9 to 12 year olds. So, and apparently that was just flooded with competitors. So what he
Mm,
did do there to make it fairer was to do it on weight. So for a junior category, I thought that was pretty good because it's normally done with the seniors, isn't it? So when
mm,
you've got your adults, you get much difference in weight, but juniors not
yeah.
so much. So because it was such a big category, I like what he done there. So it was really made it a lot fairer for the
Yeah. I
kids.
mean, yeah, absolutely. I mean, by weight, you cannot put someone who's, I don't know, like 10 kilos heavier than someone who's 10 kilos lighter. It just doesn't work.
Yeah, obviously you don't get that difference with the juniors, but he managed to split it just by a few kilos, So like I say, it gave more chance for the kids as well to enter in a fairer pool, I suppose.
Mm,
So I did like that, and we were, with the juniors, we was victorious as well. So victorious, we got two silvers. So from
mm,
from a coach's point of view with the juniors, that was good. So I was happy with that. Seems we only took three there for the juniors. Um,
yeah, but no, it's good of them to do it, and obviously it's good of them and their parents to come down and watch them, cheer them on. It is when you do have people, chanting your name that you do have a lot of oomph behind you to keep going, and it's a fantastic experience for them.
yeah. Talking of which, I mean, when you was competing, because I remember, I mean, I've long retired from competition now, but when hearing people chant your name, I never did. So I would have people cheering from the sidelines, and I would just be zoned in on my competitor in front. So
Mm.
did you pick up any of that background noise, Kieran, when you was fighting?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, to be fair, as like I was saying earlier, when you're doing the techniques, you have to be trusted. So one of the things I kind of felt I had to do was to listen in, even if someone was like to blow a whistle or say, "Yeah, may stop." You do kind of have to do it, and you do pick up the, "Oh, come on, Kieran," or "Come on,
Mm.
Michael," or whoever is fighting. I don't think I heard anyone called Michael, but just an
No.
example.
Yeah, yeah. Because I was wondering actually, because obviously at the side, I was coaching you from the side, and it does make you sometimes wonder, can he actually hear me? Because, like I say, from my competition days, I very rarely heard any noise from around. I was just zoned in on what was going on. But obviously, after each round, you would come to your end of the mat, and we would have a quick bit of coaching, wouldn't we? So
Mm.
which don't know whether it helped on the day, on the day or not.
No, no,
I thought, I
they did.
thought, I personally, I thought, yeah, I thought your performance this year, although you didn't come away with any silverware this year, I thought your performance was better than last year. So you've definitely improved on that. Um, and you fought
Mm.
the same guy as well, didn't you?
Yeah, yeah, I thought the same guy.
Who's
Yeah, he's quite
a
he's a
weight
bit
class
tall.
above you, though, wasn't he? Yeah, he's a
Some
weight class above you,
Something like that. Yeah.
and he was taller. So I think there was a bit of confusion with one guy who entered two categories. So he'd entered
Yes, there was one guy who
um,
applied to do
the veterans.
yeah,
That's
the
it, the
seniors
veterans.
and the veterans at the same time. It's like, where are you going? You're the perfect height to punch me and for me to punch you. Please come
but
back. Don't leave me with this other guy.
sensibly, sensibly for him, he decided the veterans was a better choice, which you know I would
Sensibly.
do as well. You know, I'm just over 90 kilos, so you know, and I'm eligible for the veterans. So if I was ever going to compete again, I would, you know, I would go with people who are going to. I think the vets at that tournament seemed to look after each other, although they still wanted to win the fights. I think they was a bit more cautious with each other, knowing that injuries take a little bit longer to heal, and you know we've
Mm.
all got to go to work the next day.
Yeah, and I
Um,
saw some people, some of the fights from Sensei Les Bubka's group at Les Bubka Karate Jutsu. You better be listening to this, Les.
yeah,
He was I saw some of his people. I saw his student Scott fight. You know, he was red in the face. He saw him sweating, but he was going for it. He was, you know, he wasn't stopping. No one could stop that guy at that point.
well, they were good. I mean, I think for a lot of those, it was their first tournament as well
Mm,
for leisure students. So that was really, you know, really encouraging you know, because you learn so much from competing, don't you? So, you know, we always used to
mm.
say to the students, you know, one tournament is worth 10 lessons, you know, because you get so much out of it. So, you know, you're talking of Les, he was fantastic, wasn't he? So
Oh yeah.
he came away with the gold. So I was impressed with watching Les's performance. I knew he could fight anyway. He didn't destroy anyone's thighs on the day, so
Yeah, he was being nice and merciful that day.
yeah, yeah, Les the merciful. Yeah,
Merciful Les? What does that? That doesn't even make sense.
no, no. Although he's billed as the Polish Punisher for his next seminar, so
Oh, very
we
nice.
can drop that in later. So yeah, let's talk about your. So you fought a guy called David, I think his name was. That was your
Hmm.
first fight. I think because this other guy dropped out and jumped in the vets.
Mm.
You'd fought David last year. I think that was your second round,
Yeah, that was my
your
second
second
round,
fight last year.
and that is also where I gassed out last year to the point where I just couldn't continue. See, I think we've said this quite a few times, but in that tournament, you do need stamina, and you need to be able to conserve your stamina for the bouts that you have. So at that point, I last year I was just destroyed by the time. I mean, me and my dodgy lungs as usual. But excuses, excuses. He was very good. He's very. I like to say he's quite sneaky the way he was offering up, oh, an easy target. Like, no, I'm not falling for that.
Yeah, yeah,
Now I was
yeah,
waiting for those moments for him to move into my range or for me to find a way to move into his. But this year I did feel like my stamina was a level above. It did feel like I wasn't wasting any kind of energy in my strike. So that's one thing I've been practicing is to let the punches just flow a bit more. And with the some boxing style combinations that we have been practicing in the club every so often, it is literally just you want to get those shots in as quickly as you can. But the only way to do that is to not, it's to be nice and loose, let them flow, and let the shots fly. That's literally what I was trying to do in the fights because again, when you are on the mat and you do have all the eyes on you and you are expected to, you know, win, it does add that extra level of fatigue. But just trying to, okay, deep breath, Zen mind, just get in there and let the shots fly where I can. I mean, yeah, it took a few shots, but I was happy I put him on his back.
yeah, yeah, yeah. You got him with a good throw. Actually, I can't remember. I'm rubbish at names, but yeah, it was obviously from your judo experience. It was a nice throw. I think somebody commented on it afterwards as well. Just complimented you on the throw
Yeah,
at the
he said it
end.
was a Harai Goshi, but I'm quite certain it was more of a Taya Toshi, more of a body drop style throw. But to be fair, and I'm sure some judoka might agree with me, when you nail a throw and everything moves so fast, there's no way you can specifically name what throw it was
Yeah,
because there's like 100 different ways to call a hip throw, 100 different ways to skin a cat. It's the same thing, just in a
yeah.
slightly different position.
So yeah, for me, watching your first fight, obviously you had I wouldn't say a difficult time, but it was definitely harder for you being the shorter guy,
Mm,
and so he had the reach on you. So it's like trying to close down, like you said, close down that range. But then the other issue you had, obviously, it was a weight category above you. So when you got into the clinch, you're fighting somebody who is bigger and stronger than you as well. So
mm.
so yeah, it was a difficult fight either way, you know, you look at it. But like I say, I think your performance was better than last year. So you know we've
Mm.
moved on, which is good. This is what we should
Yeah.
be doing, and you've obviously learned from the last tournament.
Mm.
And then your second fight, they actually found you an opponent of the same weight, didn't they? So
Yeah, I know. So,
uh,
someone my size and
where
weight.
was
I
he
mean,
hiding? Where was he hiding?
exactly. I think I did see that guy hiding behind the curtain earlier on. Might have been too afraid to step out. I'm kidding, of course, but no, he gave me a very good fight. I didn't get his name, but it did fit. That one felt a lot more even to me, and to be fair,
Yeah,
I did enjoy that one a lot more. I
yeah,
did enjoy.
yeah,
I mean, to be fair, I when I am in that moment as well, I'm not caring about you know getting points. I'm just thinking, okay, this is fun. This is fun. Come on, hit me. I'm gonna hit you. Let's just
yeah.
play around with it.
Again, I think one of the things I noticed as a coach was you thought your day was done then.
Mm,
So after your first fight with David, you thought that was it. You'd gone to sit down, and then you got called up again, and it's like, oh, Kieran, we found somebody. We've actually got a match for you. So then you've obviously already switched off, and now you've got to switch back on again. You know, so
yeah,
it's coming in from cold basically. So when you went for your first fight, you've prepared for it, but the second one, like I say, I feel like you went in cold. Um, but again, it wasn't. There was a bit of a gap between your first fight and your second fight, but I could see fatigue, maybe because your adrenaline wasn't up for that second fight. I'm not sure,
mm,
but it looked like you was getting a little fatigued towards the end of that one as well. But
I
and
was. Yeah.
we had worked on your fitness, haven't we? I think again, like you mentioned a little while ago, fitness plays a massive part in that kind of tournament.
Mm,
You definitely need to be match fit. It's just so you know, being able to run a 10k isn't going to cut it for a fight like that. You need to be getting your fitness up for the type of tournament or kind of event you're entering, isn't it? So if you're
yeah,
running a
you've got to
10k, you
make
want
things.
to be running. Yeah. If
Yeah,
you're doing
you
a combat karate, you've got to be that kind of training.
yeah,
Yeah.
you've got to make whatever training you do, sports specific, but all the peripheral, the running, any lifting or any calisthenics that you do can help, but your main focus does need to be the sport you're going for. Now, see, that's the thing. When my first fight finished, went to sit down, I was speaking to you and my girlfriend and people on the bench, just like, yeah, I'm gone. I'm gone. Struggling,
Yeah.
getting that oxygen into my lungs. But then it's like I was called up, Kieran, where are you? I thought, oh, why am I getting called? It's like, we got to fight for you. Like, okay. A minute ago, I was saying, okay, I can't get up again. Like, sure, throw me in again. I've traveled all this way. So, and
Yeah.
I spent like half the morning refereeing. So, yeah, give me a fight, please. I mean, like I said, like you said as well, I was a bit more fatigued for that, not gonna lie, but I did enjoy the way that fight flowed a bit more. It might have just been the sheer novelty of fighting someone my own height, which is rare, but it was enjoyable, that one. That one was a lot more. I felt a lot less nervous because I think I burned off any nervous energy in the first one, so this one just felt a bit calmer, and it was a bit of a split decision towards the end, but I mean, I'm not too fussed with that result.
Yeah. No, yeah, it was actually, yeah, if I remember rightly, it was a split. Yeah, it was a split decision, wasn't there? So yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
It
Yeah, but
happens.
all in all, I'd say it's a good tournament and a good day for us. It's a long journey, isn't it, as well? So we're looking at
Mm.
least a 5 hour round trip, sort of
Yeah,
5 hour
well,
minimum, I suppose.
yeah, I mean, on the way back, didn't help that we were caught in all that bloody traffic. It was meant to be like 2.5 hours going there in the morning. Then it took another 3, 4 hours on the way back because I don't know where all that traffic comes from, but Jesus, like
Yeah,
after I took the beating and was driving my car on the way back, just in that seated position in the car for a few more hours was not, that wasn't good. Oh, it's okay. I had
so
Taco Bell when I got back, so
so talking like I say, the tournament from our point of view, from our perspective, we thought it was a well run tournament, and I mean that was the second time we've been, so you know definitely
mm,
worth going again. And for Steve's work, we can drop a link in the description of this, I
yeah,
suppose,
absolutely.
to his channel, and then you'll probably be able to catch up with any future events that he's doing.
He has got a
So
lot in the pipeline as he says. So there's definitely things to watch out for. Even just when he runs the next training seminar, like we went to one earlier in January, was it?
That's right.
Was it
Yeah,
February?
yeah. It
It was
was. I think it was February. Yeah, yeah, early February,
yeah, it was
and that
nicely
was good.
run.
Yeah,
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 he's got a good space that he trains in. He's got some really good guys with him, really sharp martial artists. And yeah, he definitely pulls in a crowd as well. So you get like a good like sweep of different people from different parts of the country as well. So yeah, no, it's definitely worth doing.
yeah. It's a good guy to know. Yeah.
Mm.
So, so should we move on to what I did today?
Yes, yes. Tell us about your day.
Yeah, so I went to a seminar in Waltham Cross with Ian Abernethy. So always a good seminar training with Ian. So it's, you're always going to get your money's worth. So so today's topic was karate grappling, sort of gripping, different grips, and we did some throwing and some locking. I think on the bill was chokes as well, but we didn't cover chokes. But the throwing and locking was good fun. For me? I suppose there was nothing new. Some things I refined. So I spent a little time in my youth doing a bit of judo. I say my youth, it wasn't my youth. I was in
You,
my
you
30s.
youth.
As, as,
Come on.
as I'm 50 now, it feels like it was my youth. But yeah, 15 years ago. I suppose one of the early throws they show is a goshi. It's the big hip throw, isn't it?
Mm.
And that's the one that weirdly I always struggle with. So I think it's supposed to be a
Huh.
simple one. Yeah, it's supposed to be a simple throw. I always preferred, and funny enough, on the seminar today, Ian said he preferred the Ippon Seoinage, which is the one arm shoulder throw.
Yeah, yeah.
And I preferred that weirdly, yeah, because I always found getting my arm round somebody's torso, to and then get my hips underneath, I'd always leave my shoulder behind. But we covered it
Mm.
today, and that was what was quite good. I improved on what I'd already known, but couldn't perform so well. So it was good. This is why attending open seminars with good instructors is always a good thing. So that
Mm.
was although I already knew the throw, couldn't perform it well. So that was a good thing. So
Yeah.
yeah, the other one we looked at was we looked at Ippon Seoinage. We did the what Funakoshi would call top of folding screen, which
Mm.
judoka
Under the
would
chin.
be. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, so for judo guys, it's the reaping throw. What do they call that, Kieran? The
Osotogari.
sort of guardie. That's the one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
although I think
So
the judo people would have a word with us if we tried to put our hands underneath their
yeah,
chins.
yeah. Well, that was the thing that Ian was saying about karate throws. We haven't got the same finesse as judo guys. We tend to hit people to take posture. So if we're taking kazushi, it's with a fist. So
Mm.
it was really good. I was just trying to think what else we covered. Obviously, various grips. So we took the over under clinch, the collar tie, and we just sort of played for grips with that. So yeah, we had a really good time with that. So yeah, if I'm sure anybody who's listening to this would know of Ian Abernethy, and if you have the good fortune that he's teaching in a nearby sort of town to you, or even if you have to travel. I was fortunate today; it was just a 40-minute drive. So,
Mm.
but yeah, if he's close by or even far, I'd highly recommend it. So, so yeah, that was an enjoyable one.
Yeah, Ian is a karateka who seems to do. I mean, he calls himself a martial artist first, a karateka second. His wealth of experience and knowledge is just ridiculous. I remember one time when he was saying, talking about his judo training, and he was like, "Oh, he was training at I think it might have been either a national or an Olympic style center
Yeah,
further
yeah.
north." I'm just like, well, to get that opportunity to train with those people and those coaches and those athletes is, I'd jump at that sort of chance.
Yeah, I'm sure he mentioned that today, and I hope I get this right. I'm sure he said he had to travel 60 miles there, 60 miles back. So
Mm,
it wasn't local. So a guy that he trained with was a judo instructor, but the guy he trained with said, "You need to train with my judo coach."
mm,
So he sent him to the top. So I think Ian trained with him for quite a while. So
mm.
um,
Yeah, I
yeah,
remember it was a one time it was an Andy Kidd seminar in where was it? Where is he? Swindon. and I just saw one of the sweeps that he did. It wasn't even on the mat. It was just on the solid hard floor. He just did a it was a Koichigari, like an inside foot sweep, and it was just like that's like, ridiculously smooth. So yeah, he's got some very good throwing skills there, and if he's helping to improve the throws that you not too sure on, then even that little
Yeah,
tidbit from today.
yeah. I mean, if I had more time in my life, I would get back to the judo club really. But it's the weekdays are very precious now. So I'm obviously teaching twice a week and the weekend, and I'm going off to train as well. So I'm out of the
Mm.
house. I've got a wife and kids. So being out of the house three nights a week is I'm lucky that they put up with that, to be honest. So and then you get the odd weekend seminar. So it'd be really nice that because we both trained at the local judo club, which was a really really good judo club.
Mm.
But yeah, just to refine a few more throws, would be nice. But I feel I've got a good understanding of it, but it's just getting the practice in.
Yeah,
But yeah,
St.
that's why this, like I
Catherine's.
say, yeah, go on, St. Catherine's Judo.
Yeah, yeah, Judo Kwai, I believe it's pronounced. I'm not
That's
entirely
it.
sure.
Yeah,
They never said that name out loud, but Sensei Steve, Graham, Guy, Chris, Ken. I don't think I missed anyone out. If I have, then I do apologize. But they've got some really good quality judoka there. They're very,
yeah,
family centric club. They have a nice family. That is one thing I have learned in when it comes to judo is they are trying to they do make everything a family event. They're getting as many people in as we can. And it is really, really good like to see the level of support there. And that does seem to
yeah.
be like judo clubs up and down the country as well. Even like I was training at St. Albans judo club, which is like a massive, massive club for about 6 months. And like the level there was good, it was great, but also like the sheer like size of the club and like how many people came down, etc., etc. It was really great to see.
So I'm just looking for my next event that I'm going on, just because we're going to be wrapping this up very soon. So
Mm.
uh, your next event is your next tournament. You can drop that in
Yeah,
so for
yeah,
our listeners. So we'll
absolutely.
probably be talking about this next time. See how
Yeah.
Kieran's done.
Yep.
Cool.
So, a part of my the thing I wanted to do this year, apart from well, the first 6 months of the year don't count, but I wanted to do more tournaments this year. Now, again, not a fan of the WKF point style crap. Sorry, but it is crap to me. But
We weren't going to be
um,
negative, Kieran. Come on.
no, I'm not negative. I'm not negative. I'm
Horses
looking
for
for the
courses, though. It's
ah.
yeah.
No, of course, there's some good athletes there. But next month on the 25th of June, I am fighting at the Peterborough Championship Series. It's a light continuous kickboxing event. They also have point sparring, but that's not for me. Going for the light continuous adults event. I've never competed there, but it does seem to be a very again quite a big event. They've got hundreds of different categories. And yeah, I'll have to wear headgear, boxing gloves, shin guards, the usual. But yeah, no, looking forward to it. It's going to be a good event.
Cool. Next up for me, so I'm on another seven. Well, I'll be there coaching, hopefully. So I should be around then. I think looking at the dates. But yeah, next up for me, I've got it's a Dragon Tree Martial Arts for Fair Fight. So it's a seminar that Mary's put together. Mary Stevens of Athena Karate. If you don't know her, check out the good work she does for Fair Fight. So this is a seminar. Ian's again. So Ian Abernethy is there. Mary and Chris Webb, I think they're doing a talk on self-protection, and Lee Taylor's there. So Lee Taylor from Wales, from Lee Taylor Karate. So Lee's a good guy. I've been on the mat with him, but I've not attended one of his seminars. So quite
Mm,
looking forward to it. He does a lot with the pads, and if anybody knows me, they knows I do like pad drills. So looking forward to see it to doing some of Lee's stuff in person. So that's on the 10th of June at Worcester. So yeah, Dragon Tree Martial Arts. We can drop a link in for that. Just for anybody
yeah.
that is interested, and we'll give a bit of a review on that
Mm,
after the event. So on maybe our next podcast, who knows if we
who
get two out.
knows?
So
No,
but,
this won't be a limited series. We'll be pumping out content for you guys, whoever's listening. And yeah, if you've got any questions, you're more than happy to drop us a message or drop a comment. Just make sure it's a nice comment. We are very sensitive.
Yeah,
And
or even stuff you want us to talk about. So content, So if there's, let's say, if there's a question, if there's something you'd like us to talk about, we might not, we might not talk about it, but yeah, just chuck it in there. You never know. We may well do.
okay, fantastic. Any closing remarks?
Um, Numero uno, it's done. So there you go. Let's onwards and upwards. It can only get better from here, surely, right?
Okay, well, you can find me, Kieran, at Kenji Martial Arts. Oh no, I used to go by that. It's Kenji Karate and MA, which is just stands for martial arts these days. So we'll put our handles down in below, and you can find Brian at.
On Brian Bates Zanshin Karate. So that's pretty much Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, anything. So check it out. As
Okay,
somebody says.
awesome. Well, until next time, us.
Awesome. That's it. So